Hello, folks. Welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. I know it's been a bit of a break, but we had something called G20 in between. I didn't want to get the two mixed up. Yes, it was a thundering success, but the opposition, especially the I.N.D.I.A. monsters, couldn't help but bring in another little jibe about how to eradicate Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism. I don't understand what they get out of it, except, let me think, this particular one from Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin was timed for a particular purpose. He came out with this in India, and Rahul Gandhi came out with anti-India and democracy in danger in Belgium, almost at the same time, within a few hours of each other. And as they are part of the same alliance, one would imagine it is planned. Now, why would he want to destroy Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma? Recently, somebody sent me a clipping from a newspaper that the Tamil Nadu government, or the DMK, wants to appropriate, or shall I say misappropriate, 2,000 kilograms of gold and jewelry with the temples in southern India, Tamil Nadu for instance. Now that is something like 1,100 crores worth. Not a joke, not a small amount. Why? If they do that, what is the difference between the DMK and the British, the Mughals, the Persian and the Afghan and the Uzbek raiders and Tamilian who came into India to loot? Because that is what they're doing, looting temples. There's no other word for it. And yet, they're trying to destroy the very religion which is from whom they hope to misappropriate all this wealth. Does that make sense? No. Unless, of course, they want to color it all. With justification, saying that the Hindu faith or the Hindu religion is a monster. It should be eradicated. Why? Maybe it's the DMK that should be eradicated. Maybe the Congress party should be wiped out for doing the same thing. And don't get me wrong, the Congress party has been planning this since pre-1947. Let's get that straight. First, how did Nehru become Prime Minister? It was not democratic. Nobody wanted him. Everybody voted against him. And yet, how did he become Prime Minister? And stayed Prime Minister for so long. Now, let's see what else he did. 1950. He brought in this and put it into the Constitution, that you can teach Christianity and Islam anywhere, schools, colleges, universities, but you may not teach Hinduism. Why? 80 to 85% of the people cannot learn about their own religion? And you call this a secular country? Then, November 23rd, 1948, the Constituent Assembly empowered Nehru to formulate, enact and implement a uniform civil code. What is Nehru's answer? He put in 1956, a Hindu civil code. Only they are restricted. The result, the Hindu and non-Muslim religions, or those groups, increase their population 1:3. Muslims increase their population 1:15. Then he brought in 1954 Article 370 and 35A. That meant that Jammu and Kashmir almost became a totally Muslim state. Right? Not only that, now thanks to this Hindu civil code, Muslims have now at least 4 options. They can be tried either under the Muslim Sharia law or the Indian Sharia Act 1937, or they could opt for the Indian Penal Code or IPC, or the Muslim Personal Law Board. Why do they get so much? Not us. And you say this is a secular state? Now, Mr. Stalin Jr., remember the Constitution. You as an MLA and a minister in the DMK government have sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution of India. Is this how you defend it? By wiping out the religion to which 80% of the people of this country profess? And you call yourself fit to rule or be a part of a government? And your father, Mr. N.K. Stalin, he endorses your view? Now, the others come out with this stupidity. No, this is firefighting, you see. He meant the evils of the caste system. And why didn't he say it? Does he know what the caste system is? Did he ever try and understand it? Let me explain something. Two things in my life made me look into this matter years ago. The first thing happened when I was about 8 years old. Now, I was brought up in UP. My recollections and memories are mainly of Lucknow, where I was brought up until I was 10. Now, when I was about 8, we'd gone south for the first time that I can remember. Now, it's a family wedding somewhere in Chennai, what was then Madras. Now, a social visit to one of my father's friends or relatives, I can't remember which one, and we were offered milk with a little drop of coffee, and we said, we're all grown up drinking coffee. You know, the old traditional half yard of coffee? Well, 8 years old, not used to it. There's a bit of a mess here. Frowned upon, but little kid, okay. And then, I felt so small that I could have run away and hidden in a crack in the floor. Because everyone sort of looked at me, giving me the dirtiest of dirty looks. Why? I picked up the glass and I was drinking normally, with the glass touching my lips. That, in southern India, was totally, you do not do that. You drink with a glass above your mouth. It shouldn't be touching your lips. Not even in Brahmin society. Why? This remained, it kept going on around my mind for years. Fast forward to 2002. Having been threatened with dire circumstances, on a trip to the UK, I had to go to Aberdeen. That's up in Scotland. And one morning I had a little bit of time. I knew I couldn't go back before lunchtime because there'd be nobody there. And I wandered into the churchyard in the middle of town. Wandering around, and one of the gravestones caught my eye. It was dated 1840. A doctor, his wife and 3 children, who were buried there, had apparently perished in a place called Madras. Obviously, that really did catch my eye. And later on, it went on to say that they perished in an epidemic of cholera. Remember that. When we say that, these Dalits, they're not allowed this and that, and they kept separate and so on, evils of the caste system. What was the caste system? Did anybody really look into it? What was a caste? A caste simply was a group. And people of that group invariably belonged to one particular trade. For instance, people who worked with wood were called badhais. The people who worked with metals, blacksmiths or lohars. The Brahmins were the scribes, the learned people. Now I know we think that, oh, they were the temple priests and they were this and that and so on. But the temple priests had one very important function. You see, most women, most probably, could not read or write. It was not permitted for centuries. Or they didn't care. Their folks just never bothered. They were the ones who looked after all the religious functions at home. How did they learn it? Well, that's where the priests came in. They would teach these ladies and make sure that they learnt it correct their way. Why? It gave them that little importance in their family household. Kept them out of mischief. Which is a very important function. Do remember that. Plus, when you try and eradicate something called the caste system, name me one household which had more than one person where a caste system doesn't operate. Name one organization or corporate or company where it doesn't operate. Name one village, one town, one city, one state, one nation where it doesn't operate. You cannot do without it, damn it. You cannot govern, you cannot do anything without a hierarchy. And a hierarchy is the same as a caste, except it is a different word. Do try and understand that. Now, once you've understood this, what are you going to eradicate? Now, having come out with this, which is again a dud, there is no explanation for this, except total anti-Hinduism. Congress Party and the DMK have been indulging in this ever since they began. Now, to go back to Nehru, not only did he do this, but then he divided India on the basis of language, trying to split India apart all over again. Now, again, I've never understood where did the word India come from? Why? It's a term or name which the British gave us to ensure that we remain non-entities, no pride, no past, no history. Well, there are no Indian heroes. They're all foreigners, whether they're British, including, well, Sir Winston Churchill may be a great hero for the British, but what he did to India, the Bengal famine, 3 million people died in that famine. For us, he's a monster. Let's get that straight. So where are our heroes? Our history doesn't teach us all this. Why? It's been wiped out of our memories altogether. And yet you go to all these old ruins, there is history there. You see all our old temples, you see the carvings, the artwork there, you see the engineering feats. It beggars belief. How did they know all this? We don't learn about this. We're made to feel inferior wherever we went. Why? Because we have no past. Or so we used to think, and we were made to believe. Now all that is coming out, and this government is telling us, look, we have a past, we have a heritage, don't forget it. Now Hinduism is probably the oldest religion there is. And you want to wipe it out? Why? Do remember, it is these same sages who laid the foundations to modern day medicine, to modern day mathematics, a whole lot of things. They even imagined what we are doing today, things like flight. And you want to wipe all that out? Even Sir Isaac Newton's gravity, he's taken that from here. And we are told this is the man who thought of it. I mean, how? You look at all our scriptures, those that survive, that is. You look at all our old teachings. Even our education system, the Gurukuls, were destroyed by the British. Until then, literacy was 100%. And you call this something you want to destroy? There's something chronically wrong with such people. But we don't want to be destroyed, thank you very much. And you, Mr. Stalin, and you, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, better grow up a little. We're way ahead of all of you. Mr. Modi and the BJP have taken us to the moon very successfully. Something which your Congress party did everything possible to stop in the 60s and 70s. What we've done in spite of you, not because of you. And you want to destroy that all over again? I don't think we want you to do that. One last thing. Why Bharat? Why not India? I mean, what is India? It's a name the British gave us. And they gave us this. Why? They were looking for the East Indies. They came to India and said, this is India. It's not something we ever called ourselves. We have been Bharat long before that. We're not Hindustan, we're not India. These are all names which foreign invaders gave us. Our name is Bharat. Like it or not, that is what we are. We have a history, we have a heritage. And that heritage in history is not the history of India, but the history of Bharat. And as for you, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, you went over the, I don't know what, over Niagara if you like, or through the roof or into orbit. What is this? Why are you changing it now? Why not? What is India? Nothing. What is Bharat? Remember something else. Your great-grandfather and your grandmother gave yourselves a Bharat Ratna, the highest award that India gives. Rajiv Gandhi, your father, was given it by his chamchas. Again, Bharat Ratna, not India Ratna. Does that answer your question? Not just that, recently, at my expense, i.e. the taxpayers' expense, you, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, wandered all over India, didn't even bother to attend Parliament. You called it Bharat Jodo Yatra. Then it was okay. What's wrong with calling us Bharat? I don't see anything wrong. There's a lot more to be said about it. But for heaven's sake, stop messing about. Mr. Modi is giving us back our identity. Something we've been searching for more than 75 years. No, sorry, more than 200 years, maybe more. The invaders have done everything possible to wipe it out from our memories. We're trying to get it back, to stand on our own feet. Stop trying to stop it. As I said earlier, all these political Maharaja families in every state, you still want us to be your personal colonies, for you to loot, pillage and plunder at will. I'm sorry, we're not having that. We are a nation called Bharat. And Hinduism is our stock in trade. It is our faith. Touch that. The day Hindus rise up or get together and come after you, you won't know where to hide. So stop prodding us awake. Let well be. Thank you, folks. I'll say bye now. Take care and do think about what I said today. It's not to be taken lightly. All these characters, they are against the very concept of Bharat and India. Or Bharat, which is India, or India, which is Bharat. I would like to call myself Bharatiya rather than Indian. Thanks, folks. I hope you like this one. Please subscribe. Send to all your groups, all your friends, relatives, and ask them to send it on. Because it's important that we realize our own heritage, our own identity. Thank you.